Great to have Yvonne and I think it was Alice from TIPNG. This morning, our panelists are from a wide variety. In fact, also a young lawyer is joining us this morning. So that's great to also be talking to him as well. But this morning, our topic is around elections. Everybody is talking about the 2022 national general elections. And some of the questions, as you might have heard in the promo with Josephine, is why it's important to vote. I beg your pardon. What are the essentials to being a wise voter and making wise decisions? And of course, even this is an interesting one: why educated and eligible people are not voting. And to introduce our panelists for this morning, those who are going to be part of the discussions, we have Yvonne Ngutlick, Deputy Director Communications, and I know she's been around the media sector for a while. Morning, Yvonne.
Good morning, Stephen. Great to be here this morning.
And thank you for making your time available as well. James Lunge is the young lawyer and TIPNG youth member. James, morning.
Good morning, Stephen.
How are you?
I'm okay.
All right. I think there was a nice little article about young James as well and his aspirations, and of course doing things around the work that he does. So it's great to have him. And then, of course, also important person, Alice Guguna, Acting Director, Information and Community Awareness, PNG Electoral Commission. And I think Alice has been here before with some of my other colleagues. Alice, morning to you too.
Good morning to you as well.
Yeah. Okay, so let's start off our discussions. We all know 2022 is National General Elections. And there are a lot of things that happen around election time. Gets very busy, gets chaotic as well, and you need all the coordination that you need. But the first question, of course, is why it's important to vote, and why making the right decisions around voting is so important. Who wants to start off? Maybe we'll start off with Yvonne and then work our way through left to right. Thank you, Yvonne.
All right, thanks, Stephen. So why is it important to vote? So every person born in Papua New Guinea and over the age of 18 have the right to vote. Voting empowers voters to express their political will. So we are given that opportunity every 5 years to express our political will in who we choose to represent our best interest for the next 5 years. That's why it's important to vote.
Please, if the others want to come in, just chime in here.
Okay. Well, voting is important, as we know. It's by law. Voting is a responsibility that is vested upon each and every one of us. It's individual to exercise our democratic right to choose our leader, and also it is important to be part of the democracy of PNG. And by voting, every citizen who are 18 years and above have to participate in the electoral process, and that's where we choose our leaders to represent us in the floor of Parliament.
James, your thoughts?
I think it's important to vote because when you look at history, there was at some stage in history, people didn't have the power to vote. Like in Great Britain, like the crown had all the power, and people couldn't vote. So as we journey through history, we see people, being able to exercise that political will, to cast a vote, and to choose someone to lead them. We also look at like different groups. Like at one point in history, women didn't have the right to vote. So I think that's something that's a privilege that has been given by law under our constitution, and that is why people should go out and cast their votes if they are eligible to.
Yeah. So I guess on the general consensus, it's a right, but also this issue about representation. As a citizen of a state, of a nation, you want to be represented on the floor of Parliament, or where the big decisions are being made, so that, for example, we understand that some rural areas, they're always crying out and rightly so, for goods and service delivery. We've been talking about issues around decentralization and all of this. So these are important. But basically, everybody that is 18 years and above has that right to vote. Come, in April, when the issuing of writs happens, then of course that whole process around the election starts. And that's when we will see those who want to stand up and be nominated and to contest the elections. Okay, when we're talking about elections and free and fair and safe elections, does it have a lot to do with the type of people we are looking at in terms of the caliber of people? Of course, the experience. A lot of people who get nominated, there are some people who've been serving 3-4 terms in Parliament, which is a long time. But to the next question, or part of that first question, what are the essentials around voting wisely and decision making? Maybe we'll start right to left this time. James.
So I think when you look at voting, it's a democratic right, and democracy is founded on the idea that people have they are educated to an extent, and they are informed to cast a vote. So I think one of the key things that would make people cast their votes would be like the quality of the votes. That would be an educated population. People being educated about the type of leaders that they vote into Parliament, and also the electoral process itself.
Okay. A lot of times we've heard that come election time, and especially around the campaigning period, sometimes it's not necessarily about the quality, but it's about what the people there are expecting in terms of if somebody's going to come on and bring a huge pig and of course have it roasted and then say, look, come to this rally, and after it, so, or even as far as people talking about the election process being rigged with money. Alice, you're in a hot seat with the especially with the processes. Please tell us your thoughts about that question about voting wisely and wise decision making.
Thank you. The essential of voting wisely is, I think it's a big question that every one of us wants to know about, and also we've been asking. For my opinion on this question is, I think it's the elements of participation in election, and maybe be responsible and accountability, and concern about the equality of the people and the service. Also, wise voting, or maybe making wise decision, it goes back to the responsibility of each voters, how they assess the situation for them to make a wise decision. And I believe that the wise decision comes is a responsibility that every eligible voter has to consider. Most of us and also the community, we talk about services that are not coming, with most people do not want to vote, but it's our responsibility to make a decision, so that that decision is seen that development are coming. Because if we don't make a wise decision, who else is going to do it for us? We are the citizen of this country, so it's for us to assess the situation around us in order for us to make wise decision.
Well said. Yvonne?
Yeah, like Alice said, voting wisely is a responsibility upon each and every citizen that is eligible to vote. At TIPNG, we believe that citizens need vital election information to make informed decisions. And when you reach that age where you're eligible to vote, it's also important that you stay informed. stay informed about what's happening around you, know what your rights and responsibilities are, and also get to know, will take it upon yourself, your social responsibility, to know the electoral processes, what's in our law, so that you'll be able to make informed decisions that will benefit the country and not just benefit yourself because someone you know is contesting and he's my friend, I need to vote for him. You think about the long run. You think about what is this person going to bring to the whole community, to the whole country. So really, like, social responsibility for all citizens is staying informed, research the candidates that are contesting, vote for the one that has the best development idea. And most times, that person may not be within our family or may not be within our group of friends. It could be someone from outside. So we need to take responsibility. We need to show more responsibility when we're going to the polling booth this elections.
And you've highlighted something so important about understanding the electoral process, the roles. I'm sure Alice could touch more into this as well. But yes, social responsibility and just educating yourself. Even as a young person who's probably on the cusp of turning 18 and understanding, a lot of times, sometimes we forget our youth that are coming through, and of course, not all of them have that opportunity to get into the formal system of education, but that's no excuse, because I think there are enough educated people around the household. I'm sure in your interactions, even just going down maybe to Beetle Nut Market, there are people always talking about these things, especially when they're national issues. So having that social responsibility is important, and making it your business to get educated about the electoral process. So why are eligible and educated people not voting? Now, this is one of the things that has come about, and let's be honest, there's a whole range of factors. One of the main ones we hear around election time is, my name's not on that common roll. So if your name's not on that common roll, and you have that social responsibility that Yvonne was talking about, and our good Prime Minister has always been talking about this every time we've talked to him, it's your business now to get to the electoral offices and say, look, I'm 18, or I'm just about to turn 18, I want to vote. Or maybe not I want to vote, I need to vote. What are your thoughts, ladies and gentlemen?
So I think it will come down to, like as I mentioned at the start of the program, about education. So like TIPNG is in the process of doing the civic education. It's something that could really help build civic-minded young people, so that when they are about to turn 18, they will know, okay, I have to vote in the elections, and then going out of the way to actually vote in. I think like what you've stated about people not being on the common law. So like, I'm about to turn 18, and there's the issue of, how do I go and enroll? Do I go to the provincial electoral office? Where is it located at? Or who would be the contact person? Is it the ward councillor? Who is updating the roll? So I guess people need to know who is updating the roll. And another issue would be about people, movement of people. So I could be living in Port Moresby, and then in the next 6 months
your job takes you. Your job takes you somewhere else.
And how is the role being updated to reflect my movement, and so that I can participate in the electoral process? I think that would be an issue. So,
Alice?
Yes, thank you. There are many factors that contributing to educated people, voters who are not participating in election.
Educated and eligible
yes,
voters. Yeah.
Educated and eligible, yes. Some of that, yes, maybe Electoral Commission is not doing enough to educate this group of people, or maybe they don't understand what to do. And also when leading up to election, we are only given 6 months to update the role, and 80% of the population, eligible voters, live in remote areas where there is no access, and maybe they don't have information, and they are not aware of the type of information that they should have access to, and also the process of getting on the roll. Like my colleague has said, who to see, where to go, how to do it, and that's one of the issue that we also have. And I would also say that election is not only for the Electoral Commission. It's everybody's business, so everyone needs to partake in the electoral process. So in that way, I'm sure we can educate a lot of people, especially the youths that have missed out on enrolling and understand the electoral process. Most of them, maybe they turn 18, maybe still in primary school. They need to understand that the eligibility of getting on the roll, so that they can, when election time comes, they have the right to, make a choice and decide of their choices during the election time.
I think during election times, so something that's so important and we hear a lot about is this role cleansing exercise. Role cleansing, for me, just as a normal person listening to it, is about finding out about who is still alive and is on that role, who might have passed on. It's basically just updating all of this information, and we can be rest assured it's a very tedious task. The other thing about electoral rolls is it ties in with statistics. And when we talk about statistics, every cycle we have this issue about elections. But there's also something that happens before the elections. It's supposed to be a general census, a population count. And of course, on many programs on NBC, we've asked these questions. We've asked these even to the good Prime Minister himself about what the actual count of people in Papua New Guinea is. And we're going to be 50 years in the next 3-4. We should have a system that's capturing all of this information. Unfortunately, sometimes these things are not happening. And of course, the reliability of the data, the statistics, is also incumbent on making processes like the electoral process work better. What are your thoughts about that as well? And maybe Yvonne, your issues around voting wisely and actually, the eligible and educated people not voting. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Stephen. A lot of reasons why people may have their own reasons why they're not voting, even though they're eligible to vote.
Could it be as simple as they don't care?
Yeah, it could be. And that they're frustrated because the last 5 years they haven't seen anything. But I want to say, we at TI, we encourage people, again, like the social responsibility, because when we don't vote, we allow corruption to thrive. No vote is a vote for the most corrupt. So we encourage people who have not been voting and you are eligible to vote, make it your responsibility to go and inquire, check your name on the electoral roll, ensure that it's spelled correctly, that you're in the right ward. Encourage your family to also go and check your name on the electoral roll. Also finding out where your polling station is, all that information. Electoral Commission has put out information on their Facebook page about where to, for 18-year-olds, if you're going to be 18 by the time of voting, to also go and register. So all this information, we have a lot of Facebook users in this country. Please use the information that is available to continue to find out more. But yeah, no vote. If you decide not to vote, you're contributing to to the thrive of corruption in this country. Because, like I said, no vote is already a vote for the most corrupt.
Yeah. So basically, you have to be educated, take that social responsibility upon yourself, and say, yes, it is my democratic right. I need to vote. And also, when good men do nothing, that it thrives on bad things happening. Yeah. But
well, Stephen, every time is the time to do the right thing.
Exactly. So let's, as we move along with our discussions, just while you were saying that, I wanted to come back to Alice. This information about letting people know. I know you've been on several awareness programs already, and I know there'll be more coming. But is the Electoral Commission undertaking all of these processes now? I understand there are people who are now being part of the polling teams, or trying to organize them, not polling, but organizing the whole aspect of this. But most importantly is getting names on that common roll.
Yes, thank you, Stephen. The process of updating the roll is still current until the issue of writ. So the provinces, they are doing that at the moment. Is that we are doing awareness at the national level, but the awareness has been decentralized to each provinces.
Okay.
Because provinces varies from one to another. Some have more than 8 electorates, some have 2 electorates, some have 1. So we've done that in the province. So they've done their awareness in the province, informing people what to do, where to go, how to do that. Yes, we have challenges, but they are doing that at a very slow pace. We understand and have received reports. They are now on the field and collecting data, coming back for the data entry. So we are doing our part to also inform our communities back in the province. We understand our stakeholders and our partners are also doing that, which we appreciate. Like I said, election is for every one of us. So if we do our bit, we are helping our nation. So we are doing that in the provinces.
And I guess it's, as you said, it's everybody's business. Elections, those who are eligible to vote, and those who need to go out and educate people and make awareness and advocate about doing the right thing, as Yvonne has also highlighted. So in that instance, it's good to note, and a lot of times over the years, we know this, there's always been criticism around issues around the electoral rolls and all of this, but the issue that Transparency is bringing, Transparency International is bringing, is building elections integrity through partnerships. And I think a lot of times people talk about partnerships as a key word. So in this case, Electoral Commission, who are the Electoral Commission's partners, and of course the stakeholders, and of course the people who are voting make up a key aspect of that. It's 25 to 12. Once again, we're talking with our teams and of course their partners from Transparency International through this Building Elections Integrity Through Partnership project in a understanding between the National Broadcasting Corporation and TIPNG. We'll be bringing you a series of 8 programs. I think this is the second of 8, and this morning's agenda is all about elections. We've just touched on why it's important to vote, what are the essentials to being a wise voter and making a wise decision, and of course why are educated and eligible people not voting. And there's so many different factors in that as well. Very quickly, our guests in the studio: Yvonne Ngutlick, Deputy Director Communications, Transparency International PNG; James Lunge, who's a lawyer and TIPNG youth member; Alice Guguna, Acting Director Information and Community Awareness, PNG Electoral Commission. And I must say they've also got some of the other colleagues as well, so we'll make a mention. I think there's Sammy and Natasha, and who's our other, and Lisa. So thank you all for coming in. It's important information. Let's take a quick break, have a breather, and it will come back and talk more about building elections integrity through partnership. February 2022, we have our Building Elections Integrity Through Partnership program or project in a partnership between Transparency International and of course the National Broadcasting Corporation. It's vital that a lot of this information is getting out to the public, and people who hear this information, even if you hear it 2-3 different times, just, you know, what it does is it makes you understand that you need to get out and be proactive. Be proactive about what we're talking about, especially if you want to be a part of this whole electoral process and of course making your vote count. So Building Elections Integrity Through Partnership, and if you're just tuning in, welcome back. We've got Yvonne, and Yvonne's from TIPNG, James, a lawyer and also a TIPNG youth member, and of course Alice from the Information and Communication or Community Awareness, I beg your pardon, from the PNG Electoral Commission. Okay, so the final part of the segment for this morning was around some challenges for first-time voters and limitations to young voters participating in elections. What are some of the challenges for first-time voters? What are some of the limitations? And as a young person, I guess, you know, how do you become more aware about why it's important to vote? Yvonne.
I'm going to send it off to James to start us off.
Okay, James, go ahead. James being the younger person in here.
His views first.
Yeah. So I think like most of what I wanted to say was already has been mentioned. But yeah, I guess the issue of your name not being on the common roll, I think most young people, when they come of age, would not be really active, you know, to get on the roll, because
they've got so many other distractions. And I was going to say, what better person to ask but somebody like James, who's just finished university and he's got his degree. But you know, when you were going through that particular time, probably you were in secondary school.
For myself, I was like involved in a lot of programs, like the one that once the TIPNG runs. But I guess for my peers, you know, at that stage in time, you know, there's a lot of distractions, and I guess you don't have that, you know, the electoral process itself, and you know the impact that they can make by casting their votes. Yeah, but also like I think like trying to register as a young person would be a bit, you know, you just have to go out of your comfort zone to register as a young person. So I think to simplify the process, like what you had, Stephen, you mentioned something about you know, the kind of information, reliable information. So I was thinking, you know, we have the NID system. Why can't it be integrated with the electoral, you know, the electoral roll? So that as you come of age, the information is already updated into the system.
Yeah, well, that's the theory behind it. In fact, a lot of these agencies should all be connected together. Statistics, as you said, NID so important. Electoral Commission, anything to do with numbers and big numbers, because when it comes to the whole planning and you know, at the national planning level and understanding where to allocate money for such purposes, this is where it all comes in. But good point, Okay, so you may be fine-tuning some of these processes, and of course aligning them so that they're actually operating the way they should be, not just in theory but in practice. Alice, your thoughts?
Yes, thank you. I guess one of the challenges that we have is accessibility. Accessibility to vital information that maybe the voters need to know about. Most of the mediums that we use maybe is not reaching the people out there, and also maybe then knowing how to do that. I think that information is not trickled down to our young voters, and also they're not aware of their democratic right. And as much as possible, we need to do a lot of education for them. And what James has said about doing that in schools, I think it's one of the project that we started, but sorry, didn't continue. But we wanted the elections to be taught in primary schools, so that when it comes to students reaching the voting age, they should be aware of what are their responsibilities as a citizen of this country, how to vote, how to enroll. Those process should be taught in schools, and I think that is something that we are thinking of doing. But we need a lot of resources, and we need support from other agencies to do that. Because we need to also consult other agencies, because their function is not the same as ours. So we need to talk longola.
Consultations are important.
You know, so we believe that time it making this lab. And about right more long young students, because like I said previously, some students all reaching 18 years of age time will start grade 6 or grade 7, so they are eligible voters already. But how do we know that? You mean survey like Stephen ito, we don't have the data. We don't know what is the data the supporting work blomipla
certificates,
yes.
Birth certificates, and all that.
So yeah, plenty of challenges happen. One of the challenges that while discussing on the data and all this, data's belong all NARPLA agencies is not shared with us, and I think that's the big issue. We don't have we don't share the data with NSO and NID as well. So suppose me plus a serum this low data, M group law serum, me looking. Them reaching voting age pinisa. So we only target those people inside the LLG or ward or whatever their locations. One challenge to me that is the movement of people that all transfer go on maybe walking making, or maybe they just move to reside with families and all this. So ME affecting candidates eligibility is long also. It got plenty challenge where people face him as well. Long, you know, these first-time voters are not enrolling. So Electoral Commission too, and we need a lot of data so people can go out and targeting policy like for the youth participation in election, it drops in 2012. So plenty only not been voted. Their names are not on the roll. We go out there to get their names, but maybe only not survey that they're eligible to vote, so they don't enroll. Because the law says you can't vote if your name is not on the roll. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
So like we said about responsibility, each one of us has to take responsibility as well. Suppose you tell them you 18 years old, maybe finding some way long some information, and if we are not doing enough, you got all provincial electoral office to start.
But and also going back to what James mentioned, and especially with peers and young people, I think the other people that can be very influential around this is having parents or guardians, older people who you live with, who are also interested in the whole process, and through that everybody's learning, and then they can say, well, this is what I learned in 10 years ago. I mean, you mentioned 2012, that's 10 years ago. Those people who are supposed to be 17, 18, they're now what, 28, 29. So that type of thing. If you're just tuning in, and as we get ready to wrap up our program, Building Elections Integrity Through Partnership is of course being facilitated by Transparency International Papua New Guinea in partnership with the National Broadcasting Corporation. Some of the goals that we've been talking about and issues is, of course, increasing citizens' education and awareness of elections and their democratic right to vote, a strong culture of citizenship, accountability through continued robust observation of elections. And I guess this is where our comment about social responsibility also comes in. Strengthen partnerships with local level governments and partners supporting the whole election process. And that's important. Alice has also highlighted targeted, there's programs in targeted provinces and districts where TI is concerned, and then ensuring citizens understand that Parliament is for, of, and by the people, and MPs are accountable to the people. Very, very important. That last part of the question, we'll let Yvonne have her take on that about, first-time voters, limitations to young voters, and how transparency can make a difference.
Thanks for that, Stephen. So I really can't speak for young people about what their challenges are and why they're not voting and the barriers they're facing. But what I can say to the young listeners that are tuning in right now, imagine yourself right now, you're young, you haven't enrolled, but you're frustrated about the level of development in this country. And you go to the you're sick and you go to the hospital and there's no medicine. But you're eligible to vote, but you haven't taken on that responsibility to make a difference. And you go to the hospital and there's no medicine, and who are you blaming now? So let that sink in, think about it. Again, going back to my point of social responsibility. If you're 18 or over 18 and you have not voted in your life, this coming election is your opportunity to exercise your right to vote, exercise show your political will by going to the polls and voting. First of all, make sure you enroll. Ensure that your name is on the electoral roll. Go to the Electoral Commission office, find out how you can enroll, and ensure that your name is on the roll. Next step, find out where your polling station is. And make sure you know where to go when the day comes to vote. When it's time for when it's campaign period, study the candidates, research them. What are they saying? What are they talking about that they would bring in the next 5 years? Which political party are they attached to? What are their platforms? What are their policies? This is what you should be doing: staying informed, researching your candidates. Knowing what policies that they're contesting for. And then when it comes to going to the polls, you already know who is going to bring the best development to your area for the next 5 years. 5 years is a long time. So make sure you're making a really good decision at this time. So my encouragement to young people who are tuning in and have not voted in their life, please go and enroll. And ensure that you vote in the coming elections. Stay engaged. That's the only way we can change our country. Staying informed, staying engaged.
Well said. The other aspect about elections and around this time, and especially for young people and older people, is this whole campaigning period. As Yvonne, you highlighted, what better way than to go and listen? Actually, sit at a campaign rally. And some people might think, oh, it's a bit boring. Well, it's not boring when you have lots of loud hailers and loud music, and obviously the people who are contesting, they always want to bring that. It's like they're trying to attract a lot of people to come to the campaign places. And as you said, political parties are important in this because not only understanding their policies, but isn't it the best way to judge somebody's character if they can come in and talk effectively about what policies they have, about what Yvonne, you said. If I'm going to be in government, I'm going to make sure there's medicine at the hospital for you. There you go. That's already ticking a box, and you think, okay, well, I want to listen more to this. But these are some of the issues. But it's an exciting time. It's sometimes a chaotic time as well. But being aware and understanding the processes of elections. We've got a couple of minutes before the 5-minute mark or to the hour. Maybe to wrap up, we'll start off with James, and thank you, James, for making your time available to come in and not only as a young lawyer, but as a young person and talking about the electoral process and your thoughts going into the 2022 national elections. Then we'll go to Alice, who will speak of course, in her role as the representative from the Electoral Commission, and then Yvonne to wrap up the segment. Right to left, James.
Thanks, Stephen. Thanks for having me today. I guess it's really important that as young people we turn out to vote, because the future is ours, and we have to be part of the process and take ownership of the process. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. I'd like to encourage young voters out there, those who have not enrolled and they've turned 18, have never voted in their life, need to visit their electoral office and find out more about that, get more information, know where your LLG wards, where you're supposed to enroll yourself. I'd like to also encourage those who are listening in. We have a voter roll lookup where you can download that app through a Google Play and check your status. If you're on the roll, maybe you want to change your status, you visit your electoral office. So please download that app and check your status. Make sure you're in the right place so that when voting time comes, you are there to take responsibility to make a decision through the ballot paper.
And it's great to note that Electoral Commission also getting up to par with technology, because it is part and parcel. And as we're talking about young people, it's it's in their day and age where they are always collaborating and using technology. So that shouldn't be too hard for young people. Thanks for your time, Alice. I know off there we're going to have some more discussions about having Electoral Commission people come in here. But yeah, thank you, and continue the good partnership you have with TIPNG.
Thank you.
Yvonne, we started off with you and we're going to end off with you. Thank you. Your comments to wrap up our segment.
Yes, I was encouraging the young people to go and ensure that they're enlisted to vote. Now I want to give them some tips on what to look out for when they're looking at the candidates. So ensure that this person, the candidates, ensure that they have integrity, that they're well respected in the community. Honesty is ask yourself, is this person, this candidate an honest person? Ensure that they have fairness. Ask yourself, will the candidate be fair to everyone, even the ones that did not vote for him or her? Will the candidate be accountable for his actions, or be responsible for his or her actions when they go into Parliament? Ensure that the candidate will be transparent. Will they be someone that would make public decisions without fear or favor? And must have servitude. Will they be truly a servant of the people that they represent when they get into Parliament? So look out for these things when you're going to this, campaign, listening to these campaign speeches, and looking at the fancy posters that will be up soon. Have that at the back of your mind when you're deciding. But please, and go and enlist to vote.
Most important, you can't say it enough, and Yvonne's just said it. So please, if you're at that eligible voting age, get to a place where you know that that process can happen for you. And of course, you are on the common roll. So later on this year, when you go to the polling booth, your name is there and you can cast your vote. It's been great having you guys for our second program, which of course is being around elections, and elections is very vast. I think the next one is talking about bribery in elections, so this should be an interesting one. But once again, thank you to Yvonne Ngutlick of TIPNG, James Lunge, part of the TIPNG youth member, and also he's a youth member and also part of he's a lawyer, and also Alice Guguna, Director Information and Community Awareness from the Papua New Guinea Electoral Commission. We've also had Semi Mansu, and also our other friends, Natasha and was it Lisa. Thank you all for coming in, and we look forward to more programs with all of you guys. Once again, it's the Building Elections Integrity Through Partnership segment, Friday mornings, 11 o'clock, and you can get as much information as you want. Thank you guys. Have a safe weekend.
Thank
Thank you.
Thanks.